Okay, the Ccot, change in continuity over time. So this essay is definitely knowledge-based. It's going to ask you about a time period and the change in continuity about something throughout that time. So to write this, you need to remember the acronym TAREA. T-A-R-E-A. So a good way to remember this, especially if you speak a little Spanish, is to think about this. So think about school. School, there's been a lot of changes over time, but there's always one continuity, homework. And to say homework in Spanish is TAREA, which is the acronym. So that's a good way to remember it if you can. Just a little tip. So TAREA stands for thesis. The first A stands for addressing the entire prompt. R stands for relevant context. E, evidence. And the last A would be analysis. So when you make your graphic organizer, you want to take notes on your thesis and then talk about continuity, but then you're also going to divide the time period up into 3 and sort of pick out 3 time periods and write little notes about what happened and change during those time periods relevant to the prompt. Then, okay, so for your intro, in your essay, you're going to start with your intro. Your first sentence, just sort of relate back to the prompt, just sort of restate it, get what you're talking about. Then, it's similar to your GDT, your general discussion of the topic in an English essay, where you're just talking about the general topic, yeah. So you're going to want sort of 3 sections. You can just get away with 3 sentences. First sentence, first time period. Second sentence, second time period. Third sentence, third time period. And you don't want to go deep into your analysis and evidence here. This you're just sort of summarizing the time period relevant back to the prompt. Next comes your thesis. And in your thesis statement, you're going to want to include the time period, the changes during each time period, and then the continuity throughout the entire thing. I think that a very logical way to say this is to sort of, for example, say like in the 1900s, and then state like the 3 time periods, the changes throughout them, in like the general scope that you're going to be talking about with the changes. You don't want to go that much into detail. So include the change over each time period, and you make sure you use words that connect them and sort of bridge one time period to the next. I really like the word blossoming. So time period blossoming into the next. I mean, you can't really use it in every single one, but I just really like that word. Just an example. And then at the end of your thesis, it really doesn't have to be at your end, but I like including it at the end because it makes sense. The continuity, so you just kind of say that like throughout these time periods, this stays the same. And then move on to your body paragraph. Yeah, your body paragraph. So you're going to want 3 body paragraphs because you'll have 3 divisions of the time period. And so in your body paragraph, you're going to want an intro sentence, just stating the time period relevant to the prompt, just sort of restate the prompt for that time period. And then you just want to talk about the change over that time period, including evidence, and then analyzing the evidence, saying why it changed, why those things took place, things that affected them, all that jazz. And you kind of want to interweave continuity throughout it, sort of talking about the change, and then maybe towards the end just sort of saying, so all of these changes occurred, this stayed the same, and then explain why. It's important to explain why. And then you just do that for your 3 body paragraphs, and then at the end, you're going to want another paragraph. You don't have to, but I mean, this is just how I write these. And then in your last paragraph, you just explain the continuity throughout each time period and why it was that way. Why did this thing continue? Why was there continuity? And that that is it. That is how easy and simple the change in continuity over time is. I believe